I welcome thee back to Warhammer 40k Dark Heresy Alpha right now. So to catch up really quickly and to summarize what happened before is we were on the look of some sort of artifact in our mission. That's kind of like the prologue, because you're not starting in the Alpha and the prologue. You're thrown into, I think, what is chapter 1 in there. So we failed to do our mission, but we saved our mentor. That's like the premise that we know. And right now we're in these kind of like sea monster fisher haven where they're living a lot of sea products and are doing fishing and sea monster hunting. The sea monsters and everything else seems to get all kinds of crazy mutations and are looking super weird. I call out here a lot of Slaaneshi influence, I would say, although I'm not sure if Slaanesh would alter sea monsters in that kind of way, but I don't know, when I think of mutation, I always have to think of the Slaanesh Chaos God. And the premise over here is we have three companions to start with. We have over here our lovely Katachan warrior called Heimar. Gives me straight up Rambo vibes. And he's very good with shootin' tootin', of course. His weapon skill is low, what I find a little bit odd. He has a permanent injury right now because we had a little bit of a harsh fight here. But I will come to it in a bit. He is a soldier and has each time the soldier burst shots, hits the same target, it deals 5% more damage than the previous one. So you want him to have weapons with burst shots. So right now he is wielding an heavy stubber. So we have the burst shots with 12 rate of fire, meaning when he shoots 12 times. That means it triggers 12th time his ability of the soldier archetype over here with the chosen target, where every hit that hits does 5% more damage, and the 5% itself is based on the ballistic skill, 2 times the rate of fire. So the higher rate of fire is, the better the chosen target thing triggers. Then we have the burst fire specialist. The character burst attack gain 25% rate of fire, minimum +1. So his rate of fire increases even more, meaning he will shoot even more often. And then in this case we have heavy armor proficiency, heavy weapon proficiency, firearm mastery. While heroic, the soldier gains the kill shot excellence effect and can use the kill shot ability. While broken, the soldier suffers. La 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 la. Okay, and then he has the knife attack. Katachan jungle fighter. I wonder if you can make your character as a background the same kind of thing. Hammer can use heavy weapons. Hit chance with heavy weapons is increased. Lock and load while activating Heimar gains a 1% rate of fire for each shot he fires. But his maximum MP is limited to 1 and cannot be increased. All Heimer's burst attack costs 1 extra AP. So overall, he's into spray and pray, you could say. What is different to Rogue Trader is, of course, the full UI. I love this whole kind of like cogitator screen thing that is going on here. Reminds me of the wristband from Fallout. When you look at your bats and whatnot, I don't remember what it's called. See this, I love the whole spiel here, also with the agenda, this kind of like detective agenda of portraying him and whatnot. And yeah, so also what's different to Rogue Trader is the abilities down here that have a toggle on and off. That's why they have this little you know, remote turn PC, turn monitor on and off button to it. So you can activate it, and then when it's active, trigger skills. And it's not its own skill per se. It's kind of like a passive that you toggle on or off while attacking. His weapon knife feels a little bit, or his melee attack feels a little bit it's weak at the moment, I would say. And all ability scaling is based on Heimar's toughness bonus. Interesting. All ability scaling is based on Heimar's toughness bonus. Cartridge on fighter. Oh, there's like little modificators that I can place on items. Interesting. Oh, I did not know that. So his toughness bonus is a +3. Okay. While activating, Heimer gains a +1% rate of fire for each shot he fires. But its maximum AP is limited. Let's put that bonus then on over here. That means we have also bonuses with our other characters that we can move around. Okay, we're gonna dig into that in a bit. I want to summarize and finish up what my thought process was there initially, before I forget. So, story-wise, we lost the artifact. We managed to survive, to help and save our mentor. The other parties, the Sister of Battle and the other Inquisitor that we've met, they were a little bit upset that we didn't focus our objective, but focused a personal matter, aka saving our mentor. And the whole situation here is a little bit on the brink, because apparently there's a flood happening. There is the Baron of this planet who is treating his people badly, and so there's the Baron fighting against some fanatics that are hurting themselves in the name of the God Emperor. They are also butchering people and throwing them into the sea in order to appease the sea monster, from what I've gathered so far. And we feel like to be a fourth party between three parties at play here that are having a power struggle. Right here there were some divers, who were the main workers on this sea planet of sea harvest and seafood harvest, that got taken hostage by those heretics, not heretics, fanatics. And there was this little show-off between these two parties, and we managed to talk to them. I also found some provisions and alcohol to give to them, and spiced the alcohol with poison, but it didn't came to that because I was convincing them that we should have a look at the hostages if they're still alive before anything else. And they were like, yeah, okay, you know what, you can choose but one character who goes and checks, the other one please stay here. So we were outside here. I sent in my Heimer the Catajan in there. So like, okay, maybe he has to negotiate in there or talk to people. So I'll take him as an operative. He will probably be the most reliable person. He gets in there, door gets closed behind him, and they're like, ha, we got one of your guys. And then the fun starts out and breaks out. So we murdered everybody. We lost, I think, 2 divers that we could not save. But I'd say 80% of the divers did survive in here, but our Heimar did suffer an injury that we'll have to see if we can heal it in any sorts. That's the story premise of it. We also found over here an Ogrin. His name is Cog, and he has an chip implant in his head to make him a little bit more intelligent, so he can at least grasp basic commands and basic conversations, to make him a little bit more clever. He's a subhuman, and otherwise Ogrins are very straightforward brutes and stupid, like super stupid, like Neanderthal stupid. But there are implants that can make them a little bit more clever, and he's part of a Fusilier regiment that was stationed here, but apparently his sergeant said you should guard this position until I come back. And since then, a lot of time passed and his sergeant isn't back. So we're kind of looking for Cock's sergeant as well. And met an Inquisitor over here who lost some of her retinue. And apparently people are disappearing in this harbor. And our job is to find out why are people disappearing. Our job is to find out and member of the Ecclesiarchy from the Sister of Battle that we've met in the prior episodes to see what he's doing, because he got a job and didn't come back. And also where the retinue of the Inquisitor is held off, in what happened to the peasants, the rabble, because there's up to 50 people at once overnight disappearing every night. So there's something happening. Yeah, that's kind of like the premise. That is where we left off, and is we're going to try to find out why and where are people disappearing. If you have any questions, if you want to dive into anything, particularly, you know, skill trees, synergies, etc., now's the time to ask the questions so we can dissect it. All of this series so far should be for information's sake purposes, and, you know, dive into the mechanics and see what we like, we don't like, give feedback from the alpha. And yeah, voice acting is not yet in here, so I will voice act everything, but the final product 1.0 will have everything voice acted, even every little conversation with no matter whom will be with voice acting. Very happy about that. There won't be a sister battle romance. I might have to animate myself. I actually have a story in mind. Ooh. Do we get an animated commission for that? And you share that with us? Also, the lore is all over the place. One of the old... yeah, exactly. Slanesh, the best bad faction in Warhammer. I think the UK's god is good. The main character will not be voice acted. It's basically your voice, and also the narrator will not be voice acted. Because, you know, it should be your voice in your head. That should be the narrator and the main character. Cog, finally a character that represents me. I think you're lying, but I can definitely see the sympathy there with Cog. So, I wanted to go a little bit into the skills, right? Character abilities. We have here the Highborn Supreme. This ability costs -1 AP. If the noble's morale is greater by 10 or more than the enemy within their influence. So what is also interesting here, in a fight, you don't have to actually kill everybody. You can lower their morale and make them flee or give up. What I find very intriguing. So there's a morale system at play as well. I think it can play vice versa towards you as well. So, yeah. Stefan says that you don't like a silent protagonist. You hate it even. I mean, it's a flavor thing between both. I do like when the protagonist is not talking. Mainly because I'm liking to read the stuff out of myself and roleplay a character. And I want to roleplay and voice act that character on my own. Even if I play games sitting on the couch with a controller or something like that, and I'm playing it for myself, I actively speak out loud what I would say in that situation while I pick my answers in conversations. I guess it's a flavor thing. People will like it, people will not like it. Bottom line, it will not be able to please everybody unless they have the resources to have it voiced and have a toggle to switch it on and off to decide if you want to have the protagonist voice going or not. So, yeah. Allcat, if you're watching this, maybe there's a possibility to pay voice actors for that. But then again, you'll have one generic male and one generic female voice, and you have to go with that. You don't want to read this stuff out loud. I don't want to play myself. I hate myself. That's a you problem. Wow. The ability costs 1 less AP if we are Okay. Single target attack, area attack, burst attack. So, voice of command. Let's put this on voice of command. If our morale is higher, this costs 1 less AP, meaning this should be for free then. Potentially. Good. With you, we did all the modifications. We have over here scientific approach, all abilities, skill, and Epiona's intelligence bonus instead of other characteristic. Oh, so this scales with her intelligence. Her intelligence bonus is a +4. That's pretty good. So, run and gun, dashing, shockwave shots. Only worth to put them on there because there's no modificator that does that. Is that blue? It is not blue. Okay, so nothing on you. Anything on you? No, you're done. Orgrim Pummel. For 1 round, the target defense is reduced by 11. It's a negative effect. On the single attack, with the wild swing, and a ghastly mutilation. Smash! Let's do the armor reduction on the smash. All abilities scale based on fellowship intimidation. Fellowship intimidation is... Okay. Fair enough. So the sworn enemy here scales with toughness bonus. 2 times the toughness bonus. And deals damage by the strength. And these 6% over here are the strength bonus. Strength bonus is a +6. Fellowship is a +3. And intimidation. Okay, I want to check how the number changes there. It's a +6% based on our strength bonus on the charge. If I put the 40 Emperor in here, then it's still +6 based on the strength bonus. Okay. Maybe it's not really fully implemented yet. And I'm not sure how I can take it off now. Okay. Is what it is. It's stuck in there now. With you, you have nothing special. Fair enough. So, let's look for the footprints. Footprints left over here. That was the direction we're looking for. And our companion over here is a little bit damaged. Good, we got a hammer and some armor. The barrels reek of something sour. That's for you guys. Thank the God Emperor and the Saint Sibelius. We're alive! And here comes Daraspine, the man of the Baron. We'll see what kind of directions we can do as an acolyte of the Inquisitor. I could imagine that in your doing or being an acolyte that you can have different approaches to your problem and work, but I'm not sure if you'll be able to join the Heresy. I'm pretty sure that you can probably be dogmatic, heretical, stuff like that, but guess we have to find out. Guess we have to find out. The bandit with the lumen tattoo stands loose, limp, and relaxed. Pretty little bloodbath that was. Not all the fish eyes made it, though. So, looks like you owe me for the loss. The bandit stares at you grimly for a moment and breaks into a gap-toothed grin. Ah, come on. I'm just pulling your leg. A few divers, more or less. Who cares? Here. Take it for the trouble. I get the unbreakable. And armor. What is this sludge that you're so worried about? Raw material from the sea bottom. The divers bring it to shore, and the Baron makes Gurgisum out of its valuable stuff. Glad I could help. Okay. So we helped them, Baron members, and the divers. Not really sure we did a good thing here, but felt the best thing to do at this moment. Removes 1 critical effect level from all parts of the target's body. We do have an injury, right? Affecting conditions, slightly injured torso. So let's have a look. Can this heal thy body? Medicate done, torso injured gone. Man, the UI overhaul is looking so good. Put that back in there. So what do we have here? Deadeye gloves. The wearer deals additional number of explode stacks vital damage. Overin Bonet or Crude or Wayseer. Let's give that to the Overin. It doesn't change his gloves. I hope that will be changed as well, that there's a visual change. But look how crisp the animation looks on the characters. How well the fabrics and all the clothing is done. How fledged out the whole art direction is. Also love the changes in the clothing. So if I take down his cargo pass over here, doop, nothing. I'm gonna put it back on. Beam. Nice bolt protector in the front. 50 armor, 44 armor. Imagine 40k game made by Larian. I think that Alcad did a better job in terms of storytelling and roleplay than Larian did with Baldur's Gate. I'm not played Divinity Original Sin 1 or 2 yet, so I cannot see how the quality was on those. Definitely gonna come to the channel, so keep your eyes peeled for that. I'm still not sure if I should jump over... If I should jump over the first game and go straight for Divinity 2. So, what do we have here? Pyro armor. There was plasma and melter weapon. The tank deal more damage, but you don't have a plasma. You have a flamer. And a shotgun. The word deals strength to more melee damage. The unbreakable. Okay, this is like a melee clothing. Well, they have little bonuses to them. Only have these little gray symbols to it. They have a little extra. Cool. Okay, so there's different quality in the clothing. At the start of the war's turn, all enemies within their influence suffer agility bonus defense for 1 round. Wow. So, Bruiser's armor. This is for close combat. The warrior gains hit chance per perception bonus. Perception is a +3. So you get a +3%. But it's less with the armor. What's also new here is we have 2 bars now. Armor and wounds. So you have to come down and kill the armor first before you can start wound the character. That's also new here. A better job of storytelling. Yes. That is my opinion. The whole world building and storytelling is a lot better from Alcad. Fusilier lasgun. Extra armor damage. I mean, we could think about rate of fire is a 9. Hit chance bonus is an 8. The other one is a 12. Light range weapon, heavy ranged weapon. Brutal shotgun with the flamer. The Fusilier lasgun. The last projectile in the burst from this weapon always hits. It has a higher range as well. Not convinced. Not convinced. Nothing for you. And for us, we have these 2 sniper rifles. You have this Hammer's knife. Hammer attacks with this weapon do not expend movement points. When hitting a target with this weapon, Hammer does not provoke attack of opportunity until the end of this turn. Oh, so you can use this to stab somebody and move away. Interesting. You like both? I mean, definitely Baldur's Gate felt more immersive because of the voice acting cutscenes, up close cameras, etc. So the execution was a lot better on that. That's definitely for sure. Okay, so clothing-wise and weapon-wise, we are good. Let's keep moving. Diver hostage. Kobe. An aged woman with a small weather-beaten face is here. Thanks to my boys, by the way. The Baron's oath would never have pulled anyone out. What is it you want? Oh, Kobe is the headmaster of the divers. That's the thing. It really depends on what kind of RPG you want. Laren smoothed everything out. Everything rough off RPGs and made them a heck of a lot easier to play. That's true. You prefer a more complex RPG. Same on my side. So, I'm looking for a man named Rufinus Scrake. He's not from around here and he would have been a recent arrival. I do remember a shore rat always hovering about. I was very interested in learning about us and about the Baron's Gorgasum. He even suggested my boys Gorgon that gunk and take a walk on the seabed. But we don't take Gorgasum, only real sludge. It opens your eyes a little wider, but Gorgasum stops them from closing at all. Understand? Oh, Gorgasum is like a drug food. I see. It sounds like cocaine in a sense, keeping you up at night, not closing your eyes at all. What is that profane idol in your settlement? It looks heretical. Heretical? God, Emperor, have mercy. What did you recognize the saint? Who's the idolater here then? That is Sibelius, the infallible. The sea roughed him up a bit, of course, but we're no strangers of that. So we dragged him up from the bottom, stood up, and now we honor him just like rotten fish instructed. Okay, who are you, by the way? The locals call me Kobe. I'll lead the divers. Can you tell me more about your half zone? There's nothing more to tell. If you'd come even a couple of cycles later, you'd have been found in corpses, and us, the underwater fishermen. Everything the first tide didn't wash away, the recent one finishes off. But sure, ask away. You mentioned loomers. Who are they? They're carvers, the Baron's minions. They paint their bodies with luminous paints so that everyone knows who they belong to. If it weren't for the Baron, may the sea take him, they would become common thugs, but they brought them together and keeps them under his thumb. Okay, so kind of like, sounds like the lesser evil version that the Baron is doing over here. They're just for different people. If you're going to have a high production, you need all the players because the cost is so much to make, which means they add up easier by default. My big problem is I read the subtitles and skip the voice acting, almost always. So the production values are often irrelevant to you. Oh, that means you're a faster reader than what the voice actors do the job with the voice acting with. Okay, yeah. Then of course VA work for you is irrelevant. What do you think of the Baron? The same way I think of a knife in my leg. While it's in there, I'll be in a lot of pain and discomfort, but if I take it out, I'll bleed to death. Okay, so the Baron and Carlos is kind of like the necessary evil to this populace, it looks like. I'm kind of hovering over it because we're gonna do a full let's play of Dark Heresy anyways. What can you tell me about the Confessor Erasmus? At first, the Erasmus himself was nothing special, just a run-of-the-mill sanctionized preacher. He talked a lot about Sibelius, and then he went through the gateway and didn't come back for a long time. They say he went all the way to the Silenza Sectoris, the one that was burned for its people wickedness, and you didn't know what happened to him here. But he came back injured all over. Okay. Since then, all he talks about is suffering. He gathered other oddballs around him and called them the flock of repentance. They're not too bad. They keep their hands to themselves, and I'm grateful for that. But the ones who listen to Ursimus now, you see, he speaks as smooth as you like, and what he says sounds quite true. We all must suffer to purify our soul, he says. But our simpletons think that if you flay yourself and throw your neighbor into the acid vat, the God Emperor will immediately forgive you. We get another clue of the flock of repentance. Okay. What about your divers? What do the divers do in Mars Porten? Before the flood, we used to fish and grow seaweed. Then fab manufactorums would grind them into rations and send them through the gateway to the upper hives. In return, they would send us food and medicine. Those were the good times. Okay, so before the burn, you just made biomass from plants in the sea to make food rations. And now, well, we dive. This work is important. Without us, the Baron would be left without the precious Gurgasum, and we would be left without his guns and his grub. Okay, grub is food, guns is to probably protect yourself and whatnot. But it sounds like they're producing or procuring something from the bottom of the sea to make drugs out of it that they send to the higher-ups. Because right now we are in the lower levels. We are in the slums, so to say. We are at the bottom of the food chain in dealing with these people over here. Was actually do such a good job to convey emotions and like 100%. But there's people who don't need that, who have the whole cinema in their head, and they feel that, you know, if voice acting and whatnot is present, it disturbs their head cinema. But that is a very minority who has that skill and mind cinema keynote talent. The most people are there to sit back and get entertainment thrown upon them. I think Cyberpunk 2077 would have been a completely different game if it would not be voice acted. You would not go for that cinematic action RPG approach if you are having a mute game. It would be then maybe a game like Shadowrun. Interesting, you skipped the dialogues in 2077. That would kill for me the cinematic storytelling, but you know, everybody has their own approach, and everyone's approach is their correct one. So, as I said, as a content creator and as a game developer, you're not able to please everybody. It's good if you have a chance to alter your game to make it accessible to everybody, and you know, play it in their way by altering settings and whatnot. So, back to the story. You extract unrefined Gurgasum. Can you tell me more about that? Here how it is. The Baron distills his poison from raw stuff that comes straight from the bottom of the sea. From the tiny little wells darker than a grok's arse. These smokers only appear deep, deep down, and so we dive down to them. We attach hoses and pump the stuff into the cylinders. Expect the pumps break constantly, and we often have to use our mouths to get the flow going. Or that shit won't go to the right way. Oh god. So you're kind of like, when you're filling up diesel, you probably have never had that issue, but you know, sometimes when you're trying to make a circulation or fill diesel or container or liquids from one container to the other, you sometimes have to pull on the straw, on the pump, whatsoever, and do like that whole hissing of that thing, and then put the pipe into the next container. And didn't happen once where then you have the sweet aftertaste of diesel or other liquids in your tongue and mouth. Blech. Ew. Okay, so your divers definitely do suck on that poison sometimes. The job's not for everyone. People drown, get poisoned, die. But you never go without. Everyone needs you. You dive too? I'm cleaning my suit right now. In case you haven't noticed, I can't be waiting about the bottom all the time. Once I'm done with this, I'm heading to the sea to see the Baron again. We might have dealt with the ferals, but my people say they've seen those beak-faced on the shores again. Me, the sea, take them. They came all the way from their distant shores, and now they're throwing their way around. If you're here because of them, you should go see the Baron as well. He somehow managed to put them in their place the last time. Okay, so the Baron has a problem. We're gonna definitely go and visit him. We've been here since Maris Portum was founded. My ancestors first fished here, then built boats, and then invented diving suits. We've survived a lot, but these floods, I doubt we'll survive them. Okay, so something is causing floods in here, but we don't know what. What is this place, by the way? You can't make a stew if you don't know any fishing spots. I'll tell you, that is no skin of my nose. This is our home. This is where we prepare to dive to the bottom of the rotten worlds. And there's a town around us, our town. Not the upper town, of course, but it still beats living in the swamps. What are these beak faces you're talking about? A bunch of freaks that showed up after the seaquake. Must have come out of the distant pipes. Hideous things with beaks instead of mouths. Oh, he's talking about Croods. He's talking about Croods. They swooped in, killed some of our folk, and even ate some. If the rumors are to be believed, I think they must be starving to death, since they came from the swamps. The ferals don't turn their noses up at human flesh when they are really hungry either. The Baron kicked the beak-faced in the ass and sent them packing, except he started being friendly with them later. Damn him. Okay, so there are Croods nearby. Thank you kindly. Good, we've got some clues. The Inquisitorial Journal. This is what I love. Missing person. And then we have this whole... detective thing. I remember that meme where that guy standing in front of a picture and holds the hand on the wall and be like... And you have all the red lines behind him. So, missing persons. What caused the disappearance in the scriptorium? Make a report. Oh, I can make a report and send that? That is so cool. Great servant of the Golden Throne, whose will and the word pass judgment. In accordance with our sacred command, I humbly report the conclusion of the investigation to the mass disappearance. And I can then send different reports to the Inquisition. Oh, that is cool. The companion is willing to offer assessments on the Crimson Fang. The Crimson Fang let it slip that the ferals did not risk exploring the excavation site. On a tip from the Baron, the Bog Beasts eliminated nearly all feral gangs on the outskirts of the Heb Zone. The Fusiliers beat those beggars a lot. The sergeant said there wasn't many now because they've got scared. And I get another resource over here. Fusiliers have been involved in the eliminating of the ferals in the Heb Zone. That is so cool. The follower of the Confessor Crucium had previously followed the teachings of Sibelius for many years. That changed several months ago when the Confessor renounced his patron. When he went over the seas and met those wackos, the flock of repentance. These believers put themselves into ecstatic trance by means of painful sensations. According to my observations, people in that state are highly suggestible. So they are infusing pain to themselves in order to make the minds easier accept whatever information they're getting fed to. That's so cool. See, that's what I love here, Egamroth and Stephanie, is that the taste in how we consume things is so different, and that is the wonder of creating so many different approaches to games. And that's why we get so much a big variety. So RPG is not RPG. There's CRPGs where you have your classical deep dive mechanics, kind of like adventure novel direction. You have your action RPGs where it's very cinematic and yada yada, and so many diversions, and there's food for everybody. That's totally fair. That's totally fair. Did I call you Stephanie? my brain. My brain. I'm sorry, Samantha. Why did I call you Stephanie? You should definitely change your username. It confuses me, apparently. I can remove the conclusion. After the tragedy, the sectorious confessor renounced the saint's abilities and began preaching repentance through suffering. And I can combine them. It's like a freaking... Oh, wow. Nightbot went wild there. Stop spamming caps. Sorry there. Actually, I'm going to deactivate the caps filter on Nightbot. He's a little bit too aggressive. Accepted caps. Settings. I'll limit the caps to 20 symbols. Good. There we go. Either so was I doing. It's hard to drop. That's totally fair. Maybe you can put it like in brackets, your new username or something like that. The Nightbot is more vigilant than Night's Watch in Game of Thrones. Oh, wow. So, what other clues we have here? The Baron. The Baron prefers to hold public execution and keeps the record of all those killed by the Carvers. Sounds like a big, huge pot of ass. Oh, we have his fingerprints even here. I feel like I'm doing police work here. Spherical prints. Identifying anomalies in visual representation and deviation from the norm will be made apparent. With a bizarre mark, as it is, if the real space itself split the seams and then an unknown force repaired the tear, leaving his thin stature or suture. The Psycho believes the mark was once a rift in real space, now perfectly stitched back together by an unknown force. I think that this spherical print is the work of the Inquisitor. That's my take there. The sea creature's idol in the camp is a statue of Saint Sibyllus. Divers' bodies have been distorted by mutations that they carefully conceal. Offering corpses of their kin to the sea that feeds them is the divers' tradition stretching back centuries. Creature Dursus. He's the guy we're looking for. We didn't find him yet. And with the Carvers gang. These are these thugs who are working for the Baron. Sergeant said, stay away from those. They're not right in Ed. That's what he said. The Sergeant and the Fusiliers did not want to mess with the Baron's gang because of their violent nature. Okay. And then we have the Confessor Ursumus. The influence of Confessor Ursumus and his flock of the people on Mars Bordum is growing by the day. He's that fanatic who is doing all kinds of deals and whatnot. flock of repentance led by the preacher who said scorned by the teaching of the ecclesiarchy and the line of the God Emperor were exterminating the population of Mars Portum through endless torture. Mars Portum Sectoris. The Davos perform sinister rituals on the shore of town, after which they throw body corpses into the sea. And the ferals are constantly invading the town, robbing and capturing local inhabitants. A clan of bog beasts have been terrorizing Mars-Portum since the first seaquake. The locals do not dare to go against the Baron, as all those undesirable to him disappear without a trace. Gang of Ferals are taking revenge against the Baron and the people of Mars-Portum for their exile. They raid, loot, and kill and capture locals, isolated, scattered groups pose little or no threat to the denizens of the Hamsa. The people from the excavation site were abducted by Ferals. So I can then decide minor, major plot links here. What I think is correct or not. That is so good. Such a great mechanic. Such a great mechanic. I love that. I love that whole detective work. Still throws me off a little bit because we're starting in the middle of the whole plot scenery. And it's kind of hard to follow here a little bit. Oh, well, it's doing good. 30. We can shoot that away. Let's have you go with your heavy. Take some shots up there, please. Are you kidding me? Are you not hitting from that position, or what's going on here? Let's try it again. Oh, there we go. So there's destructible terrain now in the game. Oh, demolition. Disarm. No, I clicked on it. Acidic runoff has been detected. Warning, contact will cause chemical burn. There is something on the other side, though. Probably there's a way to turn this off. Oh my god. Okay, I got injured. Oh, my legs are slightly injured. Yay. We're losing so much Medicaid here. It's the last one. Well, is what it is. So let's try a sleight of hand to open this up. Unlocked. Very good. There's some valves. Is there a dead body? There's a dead body on the ground. The body has been cut symmetrically. The corpse's hand is covered in calluses. Fingers pointing towards the abandoned utility building in the center of the Mars-Portum. Oh yeah, he's actually pointing with the finger towards there. That's wild. That is wild. Here's the reputation. Every human installation can be found in the hidden quarters of Mars-Portum. Okay. So what do we have here? Someone has deliberately dragged half a body through filth and then wrapped it with filthy rags around it. What happens if you interact with this here? On that item over there? Turn on. Hey, there we go. Stop the acid. Take it back out. We're gonna reuse that. And then over here. What happens if I interact with you? We don't know. Okay. Turn that off over here. Let's see what we find behind. Some goods and a hidden cave. Discordance. Whenever the wearer makes a ranged area attack, each target under the concentration effects must pass a willpower test or its concentration is disrupted. Oh. Disrupting area attack. That sounds nice. So, her flamer does do area attacks. His Daka does do area attacks, but I can't leave the ballistic one on you. So I'm gonna give you these gloves. Oh, look at the change of the visuals just by putting gloves on. I love that. Fantastic. Fantastic. They also said that we're gonna get a lot of more cutscenes, a lot of more close-ups, a lot of more voiced work in this game. Relic, how you doing, buddy? Welcome in. Still don't know. Why did I call Samantha Stephanie? So... yeah, I definitely want to check these out whenever you have new clues to not get overwhelmed with the things you can do with it. I imagine. The carvers eliminate anyone who stirs up trouble in Marsportum. The Baron's gang is infamous for being ill-tempered and prone to act violence. When enraged, they kill people and hide bodies afterwards. What do we have here? The Davos worship of Fai's idol performing sacrificial rituals in its honor. At the verge of heresy, the Davos killed the expedition members for ritual purposes and disposed of the bodies in the sea. Davos disposed of bodies of those unwanted by the Baron in the sea, thereby covering his tracks. And the last clue. The people from excavation site were abducted by the clan of swamp mutants who have been terrorized by the settlement. There we go. Man, I love this whole board. I wanted to actually make a manual detective board. There is some workspace things that are visually working to give it access to you guys as viewers so we can conduct our detective work together on that board, and everybody can like implement pictures, do little notes, string them to other things, and we can make like a big picture together. If that still sounds interesting to you, we can try to work on it, but I think if the game gives us that option already, I don't think it's just extra to have. But let me know if you guys would like such a feature. So we have our clue board manually and have like a communal thing. Can of course be that I put a lot of effort and we have then a troll coming in who's fucking the whole thing up, and then I have to close it down anyways. But we'll see. So we're in that hidden cave. What do we have here? Also, I need to alter our formations. I'm going to be a little bit at the front. Still like that. Oh. Oh! That is cool. The light of the lamp goes where I aim with the mouse. It would be even cooler if the ambience would be a lot darker. So you have to actually make real use of the flashlight. And don't see shit. There's a body. You too. You too. You're now called Stephanie, not Samantha anymore. Have a wonderful day at work. So, we have some dead bodies around here. The corpse in the ropes of a flock of the repentance lies in contorted poses. Its limb bent in non-natural angles and the ribs producing from the bloody furrows of its back. Okay, so my wild guess here and call is that these fanatics are being led towards self-destruction by that preacher. By the man of the preacher, then. And that this whole thing happens in the name of some chaos god. Is there a chaos god who is looking into flagellation and self-mutilation? Who like that? I mean, I could see Slaneshi being like kinky in that direction of like, hey, damage yourself and you're good to go. So we're in a hidden cave. Bodies where horrible wounds were found in the cave. Identifying anomalies in visual representation, any deviation from the norm will be made apparent. So we can now make different reports over here already. That is so cool. So clear the rubble. Athletics check. Come on, Cog. Not Cog. What, me? I guess our acolyte is being super strong. More dead bodies. Goods on the dead body. Data slate. Damn scroll. We sought them, the punishers of the wicked, his beloved messenger. They're woven from shadows, yet born in darkness from brilliant flash. And we have found their cradle. We will be ready when they come. Our mortal frames will endure the pain, and his blessing will descend upon our following. Damn scrolls. Missing expedition. Initiating data uploads to the secret repository. Data decoded, structured, and apparent in the case. Inspired by Confessor Artemis' sermons, the followers of the flock sought an encounter with a certain punisher of the wicked sent by the Emperor. Agent's identification mask, an old burn covering half his face, and the agent's mission. Okay, that's the only thing that we know about on the trail. Okay, good. We caught up. Restart the generator. Do I want to do that? Yeah, I want to do that. So... Oh. Something opened over there. Ooh, goods. What was that? I think we got a new heavy Daka weapon. What is that? The Scarolian Ripper gun. It's the same thing. The wielder can shoot with this weapon in melee range. Deals additional damage to targets with negative conditions. If target is non-disposable, this damage is increased. What does that mean if the target is non-disposable? 6 to 11. Rate of fire 1. It's kind of like a shotgun. Okay. Then we got a new staff. Staff of Binding. Telekinesis Grasp. Psychic drains life from the target, dealing 2 times weapon. What is WP standing for? Weapon power. And healing themselves for the veil degradation wounds. So the Psyker is already at full wounds. Their closest allies heal instead. Oh. Kind of like a healing psychic staff. That's cool. That's cool. So, I'm still tempted to give him the last gun instead of the heavy stubber, even though of his extra ability. Yeah, let's have you with a last gun. Man, this looks so good. Fuck yeah. Sorry, I'm flabbergasted by how sexy this looks. The brutal shotgun is better than her normal shotgun. Deals additional ballistic damage, targets with a negative condition. Ooh. Let's go. So, moving back here. Oh, they're walking on purpose in these dark corners. Interesting. So, this here opened. There's a dead body. Corpse shows no sign of violence. Its astonishing face is splattered with someone else's blood. It clutches his rotting fishtail in a death grip. What the fuck has happened here? What's that hole over there? Unnaturally straight groove in the cave floor amidst a faint smell of ozone. Got a new hint. The hidden cave. Traces of an unidentified force melted steel and stone and were found in the hidden cave chamber. Identifying anomalies in visual representation, any deviation from the norm will be made apparent. Traces found in the cave matched those of the Astartes teleportorium effects previously recorded in Sholto's Valor. The clues found in the cave point to the presence of a renegade Astartes in the lower hab zones of Hive Sibelius. Could it be a Night Lord? Is this already a hint to a Night Lord? Initiating data upload to the secret repository. This information will reserve what's the key tactics of renegade Astartes in the lower hab zones of Hive Sibelius. Violent pacification of civilians, terror, and population suppression by broadcasting vox records of torture. I mean, that sounds very Night Lordish to me. Oh. The burning of Silenza Sector's Hab Zone was a consequence of the Night Lord's campaign of terror. Confessor Ersimos was the victim of the Night Lord's merciless terror in a neighboring Hab Zone. Press the button. Oh, secret door. Okay. Let's head over there. It feels like Slaneshi Dark Elderly. I sense the presence of the warp energy. Whatever seriously evil took place here, its power was so immense that traces still linger. Says our sanctum psyker. A trap. Who's my character who is good with demolition? Demolition 40, 45, 50, 60. My Psyker's good with demolitions. Apparently. Whoa, 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 whoa. Good. Good. A collection of literature on the ideal pastime of highborn lords with a detailed description of their palace interiors. Ooh. Crap. Okay, who has a lot of is it perception, observation, awareness? 60, 30, 45, 30. Okay, so he should be in the front. Should have it like that. So keep on exploring. What do we have here? A poison needle produced from the victim's neck. The head has been nastily sawn off. A clean cut suggests it was done post-mortem. The head of the crowning piece of this installation, the eyes have rolled back and the maelstrom token is clenched between its teeth. Okay, so the head from there is being spiked upon here. A gunshot wound to the thigh prematurely ended the career of this installation's artist. Ooh, gun on the ground. A needle pistol. On attack with this weapon, attempt to conflict toxin. The wielder can shoot this weapon in melee range. Okay, needle pistol. That's good for our character over here, who has a bolt pistol. So she can at least put poison on the enemy. I'm gonna give you the unbreakable. Melee damage, hit chance. There we go. We have a little bit of a flak armor. And the sword, I think, can be replaced with an axe. Although she has a big hit chance bonus with that weapon. Nonetheless, let's give you axe. In worst case, the last scan on the back. So what's that sludge over there? Within the foul-smelling heap, once make out the rotting parts of human bodies. Grease-stained pages with filthy binding contain numerous blueprints and installations made by bodies. Yo. Big yo. Okay. So we found the hideouts of a Night Lord. Wild. Cool. I would have not thought that we get so early in input on that occasion here. The hideout of a maniac who composes still lives from the bodies of victims was found in a hidden cave chamber. So let's get out of here. I'm gonna go need to buy some Medicaid packs. Definitely. ASAP. ASAP. Mm-hmm. Sneaky. So, with Kobe over there. Let's move down here. Extract the fuse. Mechanic this is strumming with effort, but dodging and pumping air somewhere deep below. Can we pick that up? Plating fragments. There's some hermits over there. What is that? The container is strikingly different from the rest of the rubbish. It is much newer and the Aquillas or it are still shiny. This is what he drop. I don't know. Little packages of care packages down there. There's some flockers who are throwing people into the acid pool. Insane. Carver Brutes. Who's Dauber? Who are you? I'm a Dauber, service number EW54, got no name. I like names, Cog. More good than a number, more short too. What do you do here? I paint the missing so they can be identified. The families come, bring food and rotgut. I paint. I won't bother you. So he paints the missing on the ground. Interesting. There's Inktooth. There's nothing for me, but there was the trader. There's the trader. So let's have a good one. Thanks a lot for popping. So, medkits. No. This bonding auto pistol. Let's put the Moors in there. The old shotgun. The auto guns. That. The hammer. The heavy stubber I'm gonna keep. This one can be sold as well. Sell old junk on top. And yeah, deal. Block Preacher. Okay, we're gonna go all the way back. And gonna move. We'll go over here. Can go over here. I could clear the room from the other side, I see. Like in shortcuts to the ogre. This is the place where we found the ogre. Amazing cutscene, by the way. I recommend to watch the first episode of this, where this whole action happened. Clear. Open the door. There we go. So, let's have a look at these hermits over here. Rotten fish. Awareness. The building is assembled from scraps that even the beggars refuse to take. The people who live here are the most wretched inhabitants of the Maris Porto. There's no one lower. There's one dead. Two hermits are leaning over a corpse stripped of clothing and with a gunshot wound in the chest, clearly trying to think of the easiest way to drag it to the sea. Another hermit, an old woman with a malformed appearance, stands nearby, muttering something in a vehement voice. The ogre growls, and despite having received no order to do, takes a heavy step towards the hermit. You there, what are you doing? They're running off.
Don't kill us, good master. Rotten Fish was only giving a litany to usher along this warrior of the god emperor to rejoin him.
Examine the body. The young man's ashen face is frozen in a grimace of disgust. You notice that the muck of the body is relatively new, and his neatly cut hair suggests that the deceased could afford to tend to his appearance. Sorrow makes the sign of the Aquila and lowers his head, whispering a prayer, probably a requiem. Examine the gunshot. The edges of the wound are slightly charred. The man was shot with a las pistol. I would like to note the presence of blood in the cadaver's mouth and nostril. The primary wound, clearly inflicted by a lower power las weapon, did not result in an immediate death. It was the victim's subsequent wound that causes their internal bleeding and eventual demise. Look for identifying the features. The man's forearm has tattoos, some of which signify the affiliation with the Astra Militarum. Okay. Step away from the body. Examine anything else? No. Who are you?
This is Rotten Fish, good master. A hermit, a diver in the past, and just an old woman now.
Why do you call him a warrior of the god emperor?
Oh, master, Rotten Fish didn't see at first. Her eyes are almost gone, and he was all dirty and scruffy, covered in blood. Clothes all filthy. When she finally got a good look at him, oh, saint's blood, a warrior of the god emperor, dressed in uniform and bearing the sacred symbols.
What happened?
The warrior came already wounded. The fish wanted to make a seaweed poultice, but he didn't let her. He shouted, brandished his weapon, and cursed us. And that's the way he died. May he meet the god emperor on the eternal battlefield.
That's just like Sergeant Orley. Search the foul-smelling old woman. They search the woman quickly and deftly, and can now say with certainty that Rotten Fish did not pocket anything from the body. Very well, let's say it didn't kill him.
The fish never would have dared, good master.
Why is he undressed?
As soon as his spirit departed, people took everything he had. That's just the way it goes, noble master. So don't be angry. Why let good things go to waste?
It's just this shell that's left, you know?
It whistles and hisses just like a throttle box by the gate. It could be something dangerous, or maybe it's a precious thing for wearing. You have a look now.
A military-grade box we got. Cock, recognize this man?
Oh, it's your sergeant?
It's Sergeant Oli. He's all dead. The abhuman growls and pounds his fist on his own forehead several times. Protect him! Sergeant Oli was a bad in fighting. I can abandon the Ogrin over here? Oh. No, you're gonna come with us, Doc. Sergeant is dead. What will you do now? Sure gets a shame. Listen, Acolyte, ideally we're supposed to return to the Ogrin to the Fusiliers, but that'd be a pain and more bureaucracy than we'd like. If anyone asks, you can just flash that sigil and tell them that he's property of the Inquisition, commandeered for the official duty. In the name of the Holy Inquisition, I'm compelling you into my service as a valuable tool from the ranks of the Astra Militarum. From now on, you will obey my commands. Go, Commander! There we go. Property of the Imperium. Show completed quests. Please don't. The officer in charge of the property was killed in action during combat operation. Acolyte has volunteered to return the property to the Astra Militarum High Command. I'm not gonna return him. He's our best friend now. He does not know it yet. Strange plants born off Mars sporting poisoned soil. They're still texting Ruski. Athletics. Punch them down. Boop. Take the goods. What do we have here? Frozen injector gloves. Whenever there were the various melee attack kills 2 or more enemies, or gains morale. Ooh. Can we put that on Cog? I think he's the only one in the moment who's doing melee damage. No. Requires the Wayseeker. The Wayseeker? Is that the... the Elder? Demolition. Boom. The Emperor is what next? Conventionalist. Confessed to forming a heretical sect, claimed to have painted blasphemous symbols at the behest of the voice heard in their head. M21 meekly submitted the charge of Xenos contact, struggled to describe Xenos. Believed that the local preacher Dursus was being followed by a shadow 3 times his size. Aha, there we go. We got a lot of information in forms of potential... potential Night Lord. Claimed that Xenos mutants and heretics live in the Hab Zone. Showed zeal and agreed to reveal the location of a lost shrine. Okay, and also the military grade Vox. You look like someone who should have been sent to this stinking, moldering, soak-wet shithole. My armor rusting right off my body, and the locals reek worse than an ogren. And yesterday, some half-naked beggar called me brother. Brother? Me? Atrocious. And the ogren is a dumb, hulking beast. I was told he was smarter than the rest because of his implant, but it doesn't seem to be working. Danger just nods at everything I say and grins at me all the time. And he sneezed on the back of my neck on the patrol the other day. What, am I now infected with some subhuman disease? I want to General Aldrich to get me reassigned to a normal posting. I'll even put in politely, but if that doesn't work, I'll have to mention my father. I'm a soldier of the Imperium, a son of House Auli, and I will not be treated like riffraff. Well, that happened, I guess. Your sister Septima. Let's talk to you. Do you sell some Medicaid? Medicaid. Yes, you do. And an Ogren Stubber you sell as well. And an Ogren Heavy Bolter. Boom, 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 boom. So grab that all for 90. Deal. Thank you kindly. And then over here is Solis. Also Medicaid. Destructive Melted Grenadier's Cloak. Ogren Boots. Yeah, let's grab the Ogren Boots. Why not? Sergeant's Flag. Wait, what? When the word makes an attack, all adjacent allies under the effect of the officer's ability make an attack of opportunity against the target. Damn. Oh, we have the same ability already with the Sergeant Flag armor. Interesting. Let's sell those improved ones. Okay, deal. Good. Cog, you've got some boots. 100 armor now. Ogren miss. Okay. So... also we can capture something from over there. Was it junk only? Those are their boots, chem toxins, set of gold buttons, data key. Sister Septima, there she is. So, regarding the missing people in Mars Portum, why do you believe this is no... why do you believe it is not a natural decline in the population? That was my assumption until 2 members of my mission vanished. Was there anything unusual about how the missing people were acting? Dreams have come upon the people, disturbing and terrifying, full of uncanny, unworldly images. Since the first tidal surge, everyone in Mars Portum is suffering them, and whole families have been vanished. That's all for now. Thank you kindly. There's a rosette hanging from your belt. May I know the story behind it? So she executed an inquisitor. I put a heretic to death, and I will do the same with anyone. Be it an inquisitor, the minister of the ecclesiarchy, or the planetary governor. I've been charged by monitoring the Tarantine cabal for the exact purpose. To expose and exterminate heresy. Interesting. Who authorized that order? Canoness Marcella, who commands the detachment of the sisters in Scintilla. Perhaps in time you will be granted an audience with her. I understand. Interesting story. I found this ogre in Mastrorum. It seems he was assigned to Fusiliers, but his unit was destroyed. I will give him into your custody now, if you approve. I will not. Definitely not. So, just overall asking some inputs. The ogre stays with me. It's probably gonna 100% be achievements if you give away the ogre or not. So, either with the hermits. We have enough healing items now. We're gonna go over here to this Zolda lady. So, let's take those ourselves. Medicaid gone. Would be nice if you can toggle the Medicaid somehow, so it auto fills up your bag if you are still having Medicaid in your backpack. If you know what I mean. Manadices in the Fridsanum. Zolda. Inspect. Just another local scruff. Let's go to the excavation sites. And move from there. On the excavation site we've met... the Inquisitor that is also working over here. What's intriguing in terms of lore, there are different subgroups in the Inquisition. With different beliefs, different approaches, and whatnot. And they're not necessarily all working with one another. Very often also against one another. Inspect. Examine that drill. Yeah, Alkid says we're gonna get a lot of more of these close-up cutscenes and moments in the game, trying to tell a more intense story. Everybody's been very much inspired by how well Larian did with their latest game, Baldur's Gate 3, and try to not necessarily match, but go into that direction. Acolyte, be real. I cannot talk to you, right? With you, we've talked everything that we had. It gives a little bit of information about the missing people. So, the Baron. The Baron manufactures the combat stimulant known as Gurgasum. Gurgasum. Excavation lower level. Let's go. I'm actually happy that a game is now focusing more on different aspects than just non-stop combat. There's a knife marked on the inside of the vat. Someone tried to scrape off the hard leftover porridge. I see. Ooh, what's happening? I see some tentacle thingies. A warp? Somebody coming. Whoa, that was wild. Hello! Oh, an Eldar! Yes. One of the companions. An inhumanly tall figure encased in outlashing armor appears out of nowhere. The wanted helmet dips